Okay, so I had text. I added text to my Followcam in Unity, and now I want to update that text with a countdown clock. So I went to ChatGPT. This is 3.5, and that's the free version. I said I have in Unity Text Mesh Pro UGUI, and that's how we would reference it in the text. I'll show you that in the code. That's how we would reference text in the code. I have Text Mesh Pro UGUI text, which I want to start at a public float set to 100 and count down by one each second. Please writhe the C sharp script for me. I misspelled writhe, but it knows what I'm talking about. Sure, here's a simple C sharp script, and I'll show you the code I'm using because this is incomplete. For instance, he ChatGPT is masculine in my mind. Uh, um, it's not including using that we need because this element, the I enumerator, threw an error in Unity. And so it gives me instructions. Attach the script to a game object in your Unity scene. Attach a Text Mesh Pro UGUI component to the countdown text field in the inspector. I'll show you what this means. Optionally adjust the starting count variable in the inspector. But I got this error, so I just copied and pasted. I didn't ask any questions. I just pasted the whole, it actually starts here, pasted the whole error in. It seems like you're encountering an error because I enumerator type is not recognized. You need to use system collections. So here, using system collections. So point being, it gives me the code, but it doesn't tell me, it doesn't include this essential bit. But when I just paste the error in, it gives me this new heading, and all it gives me is the heading. Here's the public class countdown mono behavior blah. So this should have resolved the error. And then I said, I'd like to add a function to run if the countdown reaches 0 or below. So give me the whole code again, this time including the system collections, and it has this function. This function is printing to the debug log. It prints this string, countdown reached 0 or below. And we can look through this and figure out how it works. But I'm going to go straight to, I just pasted it into script, and let's just go straight there. So it said attach, this is my darkened script in the game mode. You can see the text is not showing up here because I have to add it again. I guess I deleted it to show, but then I forgot that I needed to show the message that comes up when you use it for the first time. So I'll just do it again now. UI Text Mesh Pro in game mode. I should see new text. I'll go to, and I think position minus 300. So it may vary from time to time. I don't know what the differences are, but this looks good here. And then minus 200? No, not minus. And that's a little too much, isn't it? 180. That's still a little bit much. So it's kind of up here in the side, and I can change it further and move it a little bit more to the left. But there's my text. But the code I attached, it said attached to a game object. But I saw a tutorial that said attach it to the event system because that's what it's for. And so I did. But I think I could have attached it to the camera or anything else. The code is here, timer. And I attached it to the event system, and you can see here, timer. And so it has a starting count of 100 and countdown text none. So what it was saying before was to do this, drop this there. It still says none. Try this again. There we go. So now the text TMP is in this countdown text, and if I hit play, it starts at 100 and begins counting down by seconds. I don't know if this is ideal. I'm gonna open the console. I don't know if this is ideal, 100 seconds, because don't know how long the game needs to be played. You know, it needs to be challenging, and then I have to decide what happens when the countdown reaches 0. But I have a function for that. Come on, here we go. I have a function for that. I should have. In fact, we can do this, and I can change this here because it's a public variable. I requested that, if you recall, in my ChatGPT prompt. So if I bring it down here to 30 and hit play, I have the console open for a reason, because when this comes down to 0, we should see the message that tells me that the countdown has reached 0 or below. So that when it reaches 0, I can have an animation run. I can have the text up here changed to, probably will, game over, timeout, your time's up, something like that. And I can have some animation run when a guy falls off a cliff, or I don't know. So here it's going to be 0, and there's the console. So let's look briefly at the code, and then we'll be done with this tutorial. It's called timer. The code I showed before may have had a different name, but notice that you got to have the name of the code, the name of the script, and this public class have to be identical. So just if you change the name of the script, change this too, or vice versa. So we are using the system collections because we have to get this thing to run, the I enumerator. Don't know what that is. Okay, so I can explain the code only so far, and then I would begin to have to do some research. But I might ask ChatGPT or Google what I enumerator it means in C# for Unity. I would always, if I'm asking Google or any other system for information on C#, I always want to include that it's for Unity, because Unity is a special case use of C#. So I have a public float, a starting count, and it starts out at 100, and F means floating, so it could be, I could start it out at 100.1 or something like that. There's a private float, which is current countdown. That's just a variable name. It's a floating point. It's maybe not a floating point integer, at least I haven't defined it as any particular number. Public test mesh pro UG UI, the countdown text. So this is another, that's the public field that I dragged the text into. Okay, so at the start, the current count equals starting count, and starting count begins at 100, or by default 100. Update countdown text, and that's a function. So we'll have to look down here for update countdown text. Here's a void. This is after the void start. Maybe I don't have a update function in here. Okay. Maybe not. Update the countdown text, start the coroutine, start countdown. So those are the things that happen at the very beginning, at the start function. This is the coroutine to countdown, and it is enumerator start countdown. I enumerator. Don't know what that means, but it's the name of the function is start countdown. And while current count is greater than 0, yield return new, wait for seconds, one float, wait for 1 second. Current count dash dash, decrease countdown value, so those are minus minus. Update countdown text, update the text display. So every second we go through this. Countdown reaches 0 below, execute the function countdown reached 0 or below, and that's down here, and that prints to the debug log, which we saw prints out in the console. We're still missing this though, void update countdown text, and that is countdown text, notice the capitalization here, dot text equals current count to string, and then that's empty. So it just lets it know that it's a string. It turns the value, the numeric value, into a string. Strings are not strings are anything floating point are integers, floats are integers, and strings are anything. Could be numbers or letters, but they're treated as the same as letters. In other words, you can't do math with a string. So the point is, you can copy this code. In fact, I'll do this. I'll leave this up for a second. I'll pull this down. I'll leave this up for a second. You can copy this code. You might pause this, and you notice here that the countdown reach 0 below is the last line there we can't quite see. So I'll roll it down. You can pause this. You can copy this code verbatim, or you can go to ChatGPT and ask it to do something similar. I wanted to get the technique of using ChatGPT, out there and show you how I use it in different ways. But I'm pretty satisfied with this. Here's my console. And now all I have to do is have something happen when the count reaches 0. I'd like maybe this light that's following this guy around. If you recall, there's a little red light following this guy. The Banana Man has a point light that follows him around. I'd like to have that maybe flare up and go out. The text should go to game over, you lose, or something like that, out of time. And I'm going to redesign the kind of race course of lights, and I'd like to have a animation for if he falls off the edge of the world, because it's actually quite easy to do in the dark. And I'd like to have something happen when the last light goes out. When the last light goes out, I think his light goes out, and then it's in the dark, and the text should say "you win." I know it's perverse, but that's my idea of a game. So that's today's second tutorial.